Good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing? Hey, Johnny. How are you? Happy Thursday. Hey, Mishi. How are you? Oh, cool. Good stuff. Well, folks, here we go. Entering the final stretch. Coming into the weekend. What's up, Johnny? Welcome to the folks on YouTube joining us. I'm expecting a light attendance today as everyone's heading off to the cottage, the lake, the beach. At least I hope they are. And once again, without anyone around to sell, our ES market is powering up again. Hey, Johnny. Hey, is that Johnny from South Pacific? Man, it's been a long time. How are you? Hey, wow, good to see you, brother. It's been a long time. Good to have you back. Well, so we're in a bit of a. Today's a shortened day, right? We have, less people, less time. It's going to be kind of slow and creepy price action. It's an early close. No, I've got a guy, Johnny, I haven't seen him in a while, who's been in our room, and haven't seen him in a while, so it's good to see him again. Well, he's from New York too, so a lot of Johnny's from New York. Johnny from the block. Hey, Jerry, how are you? All right, folks. So overnight inventory is a little long. That overnight low is 62.70 and a half. Our level is 62.70. So it's just pure distribution tonight. You can see the volume is only 28,000 contracts. So it's a thin market, not much to do except wait it out. Looks like we're the intent of the market is to close at all-time highs so everybody feels good. We are above, I think, now. Now, my levels are back adjusted for volume, so I think we are at all-time highs on the ES. I use the continuous contract back adjusted, and it would appear that we are at all-time highs. Here's the structure of the day. So you can see that the point of control for the overnight session is actually right at yesterday's close. We are above yesterday's high. You saw yesterday they did a high close. They ran it up right before 5 p.m. and closed 62.77. So basically what you want to do today, ladies and gentlemen, if you take 5 trades a day, today you're going to take 1, right? Make it count. Trade less. Trade small. We've only traded 28,000 contracts, which means there is nobody around. Secondly, what you should know is, now I got an email from my brokerage firm, one of the firms I use, and so instead of $40 for a micro, they're charging $594. Instead of $400 for a mini, they're charging $6,000 for margin. So we have a shortened trading day right before a holiday and higher margin because of economic news today. So just be aware of that. What that means for us is it means that we are going to have less follow through in our trades because we have less people, right? You have less people in a market, you're going to have less follow through in the trades, and we're going to have to deal with that. So you just kind of want to go into holiday mode now. Just be nice and relaxed. Take it easy. I've got my balance zones drawn here. And what I did for balance was this. I did 77 quarter to 81 quarter. Double it to 89 to the upside for profit. 69 quarter for the discount zone. So really not much going on. We've got that barcode charting here where it looks like, the barcode on a box of cereal. That's really untradeable. The trade you want is from here to there or a look above and fail. You don't want to screw around really in the middle of a choppy zone, especially when there's no volume. So that's pretty much our trade pep. Let's see what happens. Now, if we take out that overnight high, right, we know that there's sellers waiting for us here. Now, I don't even have VWAP drawn on here, but we know that there's going to be sellers here, and there are going to be sellers here. Past my 50K eval. Oh, nice. Barclays in Manhattan. Nice work. Good stuff, Adam. So you're going to be working for Barclays. Nice. That's great, man. Well done. That's wicked cool. That's really beautiful. Now, don't forget us when you get the private plane, okay? I want to ride. Okay? Thank you. I appreciate that. All right? Don't forget us when you have your private plane. Right? Hey, maybe I'll finally get one of those party invites to the Hamptons now, Oh, man, I'm so happy for you. That is so cool. Love to see it. I love it when my guys get get jobs on the street. It's beautiful. Very proud of you, man. Very proud of you. Beautiful. Good stuff. You're on your way now. Exactly. That's so cool. Beautiful. Oh, cool. Market maker for futures on Nasdaq. Well, I know they're gonna monitor your socials and stuff like that, but please keep in touch. I know you won't be able to say a lot and things like that, but please keep in touch and let us know how things are going. Yeah, now you're going to learn about the world of compliance. I can't even imagine how many rules they have now compared to when I was on the desk. Hey, Raj, how are you? Our Adam got a job at Barclays, NASDAQ market maker. Beautiful. Beautiful stuff. And now we're creeping on that overnight high. There's nobody around to sell. Here we go. Please be careful shorting this thing. Oh, that's good. That's really good. Give me a DM when you can while you're still in Discord. And I think you have my cell number if memory serves. Keep in touch. So we have a poor high now. A little bit of competition at 84. Using the PDT rule, Johnny, for equities, that is tough. Um, I'd probably go towards more swing trading. Um, I don't know what the rules are now about PDT in a cash account versus a margin account. Um, you can always consider futures, right? If you want to day trade, you can always come to the dark side with the ES, learn how to trade with the micro. Um, you know, that's definitely something to consider. There is no PDT rule in futures, and there's no borrows for shorting. Something to consider. And then maybe go to more of a swing time frame on equities. And as Adam said, go to a larger time frame. You know what? If you want to chat, Johnny, just DM me anytime. I'm always around. So we have a double top in the overnight. Yeah, DM me anytime. I'm always around. My girlfriend's working out of town for the next 4 months, so I'm around on weekends too. I got nothing to do, right? So I'm around if you want to chat. Good stuff. I'm really happy, Adam, that you found a spot on a desk. It's beautiful. Yeah, it's it's the fourth, Johnny, right? The fact that we have an early close today tells you how important this holiday is, right? Biggest holiday, start of the summer. If you were back in New York, you'd be trying to get those illegal fireworks, getting the grill ready, right? Probably wouldn't even be in front of the screen. Smart. It's been that way, since month end. Month end was kind of slow and choppy, and it's kind of continued into this week. Hopefully next week we'll get some action, as people start coming back into the office, right? We'll get some news later on today. Maybe that'll shake loose a little bit of stuff, but pretty much counting on it being a snooze fest today. It's like the price isn't even moving right now. And what we've done, about 1,000 contracts since we started this stream. Does anybody have any questions, or since it's so slow, you want to take a look at any stocks? BULL? Hang on, let me. You know what I was looking at yesterday was this. What was that crazy deal yesterday? Yesterday I was trading, well, I was calling out levels on MOGO, which is the sub penny piece of crap, not sub penny, but sub $5 deal. And it worked really nicely. I just drew a volume profile and I looked at areas where I knew there was going to be resistance, and it was pretty interesting. So, what's the deal you guys want to look at? BULL? Hope you folks don't mind. Futures aren't doing anything. On our futures, we're coming back down. We've got that double top. We knew that there'd be sellers at 62.84, right? And so now we're looking for the cost basis is just down here on the ES, just under 61.81. So we'll probably just return back here. this on a decent time frame. Oh, okay. You know, do you folks find that, and I always find it very interesting, that before the 4th, you'll always see a bunch of really crappy companies starting to move, right? Starting to get marked up. It's hilarious. You know, they'll start trading good dollar volume. They'll start getting marked up. So this is what we do in our room. You can see how it works pretty nicely, right? So here's the cost basis, right? Here's our cost basis. And this is 2 times cost basis, and you'll see that that 1450 worked pretty nice, right? So this is where the volume's acquired, and this is where it's distributed for profit. So what you're looking for today, you'll be looking for, if it looks above and fails 1450, you'd be looking to short it. But where would you short it down to now? There's not a lot of meat on the bone on this thing on the short side until it breaks 1370 and comes back like this, and that's highly unlikely on a shortened day. Look for higher markup today, right? Because it's obviously that they control, the stock's quite well controlled, right? This is where the initial positions were probably taken down. This is where the financing probably happened, right? And the financiers are taking some nice profits before the weekend, right? Stuff like that you can take a look at. ES, you can see it's coming down to 62.81 and kind of stalling out, right? So you guys were talking about Hood, right? It did a nice look below and fail of 92.92 yesterday. Up to that, I've got 101.19, 101.24. We stopped just before that. The high was 188. What else ran? Hood was running, and what else were you guys trading? I think it was a coin. Coinbase, I have a 392 target on. It's kind of, it's in distribution still, right? Oh, Circle was another one. Stock's trading heavy now. If it stays under 180, I wouldn't be buying it on Circle. Nvidia, I had 158.58 on that, and we did a look above and fail. Let's see. Do you ever refine cost basis using volume profile and project deviations based on that? Just I just I basically just eyeball it. And if I do run a volume profile, it'll usually line up done. Right? Time spent at time and volume traded, right? That'll that'll generally build a cost basis. Not much going on, eh, folks? A lot of pump and dumps going into the holiday. Let's see what happens when London opens. I'll keep this session short. we'll wait and see what London opens and if it brings any extra order flow. And if you guys don't have very many questions, I'll kind of cut it short and let you enjoy this beautiful long weekend. Not a cloud in the sky in beautiful sunny Liverpool this morning. Coin Oracle and IONQ. Well, take a look at those. Yeah, done. Everything I do is really simple, right? I just look for that back and forth rotation and then double the rotations. And they work pretty well. It's going to be a warm one in London, Raj. You're not at Wimbledon. What do they eat at Wimbledon? It's not apples. Don't they have some sort of fruity thing that they do at Wimbledon? Strawberries. That's it. You can tell I'm not. Could you imagine people eating strawberries at a Bears game? That'd be hilarious. Yeah, those 3 to 6 point cost bases work nice. Hey, Matt, you're right. Well, that's cool. It's pretty expensive, isn't it, to go to Wimbledon? Well, gosh, this thing's just gone asleep. All right, London's going to open in 17 seconds. Let's see how much tea these guys drank. If there's any caffeine going on. Otherwise, we're all ready to go for the weekend. How's the coin of bitterness this morning? Bitcoin 109,497. London opens with 3 ticks. 4 ticks? 5 ticks. Nope, 4 ticks. Not much caffeine on the London Open. I guess they're all getting ready to go watch tennis. And we're just coming back into cost basis. If we break yesterday's high, which is 62.79 and a half, look to come down to 77, that area. Now, if we can't break 62.79 and a half, it's going to get very boring. Even more boring than it is now. Because it's just going to distribute. And we're going to try and move that point of control from 77 up to, say, 81, 80 and 3/4. There we go. Another 20 contracts. We'll move that point of control up. Come on, just need another 12 contracts there. There we go. Point of control moves up. So now the point of control, which is where the inventory is priced, has moved from 77 to 80 and 3/4. So that just means there's good distribution. The buying is coming from people who are trapped short under 79 and a half, right? Because if the short sellers have been using that as their stop, that's why there's responsive buying when we get down there. Hey, John, what's going on? How are you? And this one really, John, is it's really like watching paint dry. And it's pretty much gone to sleep here. Any questions? Anything that you folks want to talk about? Otherwise, what I'll do is I'll kind of wrap it up early and remind you to please come visit us at the Trading Syndicate. We'll teach you how to trade in a practical way. Try and spare you from all the double talk. Right? Especially, watch out, maybe this weekend we'll have another sale. Steve loves to do that. Keep an eye out. If you have any questions, right, about joining the room or about mentoring or anything at all, just DM me. I am vwaptrader1 on X and in Discord as well. Yes, done. That's exactly it. So you actually nailed it on the head. POC migration in low activity environments is mostly shorts covering above the previous day high. You nailed it, right? Before before the news. It's really you pretty much you nailed it to the T. I look at POC migration just to see how well distribution's going or how well accumulation's going. I don't actually use it to trade. Sometimes I find in more normal environments, after the point of control moves up, if we run out of buying, then I can start looking for a short. But it's I haven't run the numbers on it to see how consistent that is. It's just something I've noticed. Now I wouldn't do it tonight because as you can see, nobody wants to sell anything under 62.80. So there's absolutely no reason to just short this market. Oh, okay. Yeah, I noticed that that happens with different software, Johnny. That TradingView and the problem with futures trading is definitely data. All these places use different data feeds. Um, the other Johnny, how would you go looking for stocks to trade? Uh, I use a scanner. Well, I don't really trade stock. I make markets in stocks. I distribute them. But if I were you, I would look for number of trades. So when you go into a any kind of a scanning software, I like to look at number of trades. So the company that I used to work for, after the guys who gave me a job after my heart attack, what I would do is I would go and look and see, like yesterday, like that MOGO, for example, it traded 1.1 million trades and it traded $766 million in dollar volume. So I know it's active because in stock trading, you want to get in and out and you need that liquidity. So you don't get stuck in something that's illiquid. So for me, the biggest thing I do is I look at number of trades because that's active. Does that help? Right. And the software I use is Scans, SCANZ. And I've been using it since 1999 when it was called Equity Feed. And I know the owner of the company. After I had my heart attack and my surgery, he gave me a job when I was looking for something less stressful to do. And that's how, it's because of him that I started retail trading and learning how to teach retail. And it's all due to the guy at that company. So big shout out to Stefan. Good guy. Really good guy. So I'm a big supporter of that company because they looked after me when I was sick. Yeah, I like to look at number of trades. I like, because volume's not really that great an indicator because what you guys see is total volume. So if you see like something traded 10 million shares, it could be two blocks of 5 million, right? What's done asking? What about volume tick count per defined period? I guess wash volume could be a negative in tracking like that. You know what? I don't even know what volume tick count per defined period is. Never even used it. So, hey, you know what? In trading, you learn something new every day. I just use number of trades because I've been using it for, golly, 30 years. Now, you got to remember that I don't look at stocks the same way you guys look at stocks, right? So, for example, if I was looking at Mogo yesterday, right, you guys look at it to trade it. I look at Mogo and I go, look, it traded $766 million worth of stock. How much did the insiders sell? They would have been at least 30, 40% of that volume. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? So those cats would have made at least 230, $300 million yesterday by liquidating into that volume. That's why the stock went from $4 to 3 to 2 and it closed under $2.30 because they sold the crap out of it. Right? And if they're selling stock at $2 a share, it means they got it for under a penny. Yeah, Dunn. I tend to be very simple, Dunn. I don't overcomplicate things, right? Um, so I just look at number of trades, right? If there's a lot of trades, sure, it could be wash trading, but the rules on wash trading are a little bit more stringent than they were in the old days, right? But if I see something, traded a million trades, I know it's liquid. It's simple. You know what I mean? I'm very much a blue collar trader. I don't tend to overcomplicate things. I use a simple candle chart. I know people use tick charts and this chart and bunko charts and renko and dinko and that's great. I got nothing against that, but there is so much stuff out there, right? All I have to do is run the tape done to see if the trades are big or small, right? Right? It's not rocket science, right? It's a stock. So you just run a time and sales, and if you see a lot of small orders, you know there's a lot of retail. If it's traded a lot, so you don't have to really go into all that 100 orders for every 10 shares, and that's 100 ticks. And like, why overcomplicate life? Do you understand what I'm saying? You look at the number of trades, you open up a time and sales, and you see a lot of small transactions. See how simple it is? Market scanner. Yeah, I just look. Yeah, see, for me, when you open up scans, the first thing I do is look at number of trades. Now, you can, by all means, I'm not poo-pooing your method, right? I'm just saying I like simplicity, right? And I look at liquidity as how much can I sell into this market? Because that's why they take markets higher to entice you guys in to buy stock and we sell into it. That's why they call it a market, right? You guys buy, we sell, right? A market is where wholesalers sell their goods, right? Now, if I was trading, now I don't know what it's like shorting these days because I haven't done any shorting with equities since 2005, right? When they changed the rules in shorting, I kind of stopped shorting because to borrow stock, I think the whole stock loan thing is a scam, right? Sorry, I shouldn't be saying that, but it's just another way to get retail people to pay fees, right? So, this whole stock borrow thing, that's a whole business in itself, right? So that's why I like futures, right? That's why I like futures. There's no stock borrowing fees, click to short, right? Yeah, in 2005 they changed the rules. They introduced regulation SHO. Before 2005, you didn't have to borrow stock to short it. You just shorted it. Right? Life was a lot simpler. And as you can see, folks, now we've just got this rotation in the ES. It's not really doing much, just back and forth. Yeah, it was great. You could clear stock in 3 days at a brokerage firm. Yeah, that's what we used to do every morning on the trade desk. We'd look at, like, say, 5 crappy stocks, right, where you knew the promoters were useless, right, and you'd short 5 of them. 45 minutes later, you cover after the opening, after the promoters dumped the stock. 3 to 4 out of 5 trades would work. One would be kind of sitting there and you just cover it flat or take a little bit of a loss, right? You make sure you don't short stocks of powerful promoters, just the crappy ones, right? It was a great way. It's how we'd pay our rent and, have money to go to the bar and stuff like that. Short a little bit, wait 45 minutes, cover, right? Because all these idiots would do the gap and trap, right? Yeah, I don't actually trade crypto. Crypto is actually the only thing that I own kind of long term. I have a very small amount and I buy a little bit when it breaks the levels that I use. And when it does the look below and fail, I'll try and buy a little bit. Not a lot, just a little bit, and I put it away and I forget about it. Just in case the 0 and 1 mafia actually do what they say they're going to do and change the world, then I'll own a little bit of it. But I don't try and trade it. Basically, all I trade is ES because I know the market really well, and it's a market you can scale up on. It's a market you can scale down. And trading one market for me at my age, no, I don't trade RTY. I just ES Trippy. I'm an old man now, right? So I focus on one thing. I know the market. I know when to mess with it. I know when not to mess with it, right? Some days, you go fishing, you don't catch any fish. That's okay. I'm on the ugly side of 55 now, Adam. Right? I'm barreling. Yeah, I'm barreling towards that 6-0 figure. No, no, no. I'm I'm from the Jurassic period. That's what I like about ES, right? That's what I love about futures markets. There isn't some insider dumping millions and millions of zero cost shares into retail buying. So you have much more stable markets, right? I mean, look at that stock yesterday. They gapped it up, they gapped it up to $4 on the open, right? Pre-open. And they got and it triggered all of you know, the stuff that you guys watch, all of those filters that you guys watch. They gapped it up from $1.20 to $4 in the pre-market, and then they just sold into it and sold into it and sold into it all day, right? They let it breathe once or twice, but all they did was just distribute a massive position. And they would have been out $300 million, $400 million worth of stock yesterday, right? And anybody who bought it over $2.40 is underwater. Let's see how it opens this morning. Right? So they sold the stock yesterday. Today they'll get their wires. Right? They'll get their wires today, and they'll have a wonderful long weekend. That's what we used to do. Right? A couple of days before the 4th, you blast out a bunch of stock, put your wire request in. Now you got 1 day settlement. Wires will be out today. Thank you very much. That's why you don't invest in these stocks. Trade them, but don't get married to them, right? Because there's always an insider dumping. Listen, if you put $500 million worth of buying into a stock, that stock should have been $30 a share yesterday instead of closing at $229. Obviously, somebody dumped millions of shares, hundreds of millions of shares into the retail buying. It's beautiful liquidity. Proper villains. Yeah, I've never traded the DAX. I remember the DAX was really popular about 3 or 4 years ago. We had a bunch of people in our room who traded it, but they all sort of disappeared. So I never really got to learn much about it. MTPLF. Okay, thanks, Johnny. I'll have to check that out. Is that a Canadian issue? F is a foreign stock. Anyway, folks, sort of rambling on here. Does anybody have any other questions, or before I wrap this up? We'll do another session today at 9 o'clock Eastern Time for the New York Open. Till then, start getting ready for your holiday, right? Make sure you have enough potato salad. Always very important. It's good to see you, Johnny. DM me when you want. We'll have a chat. Thank you, folks. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for hanging out with me in this really horrible price action and bringing up interesting things. In the future, I'm going to be designing some stuff to help people trade small caps and things like that. So stay tuned. Come join us at the Trading Syndicate. We'd love to have you. And we will see you in a few hours. And the rest of you who I don't see in a few hours, have a wonderful weekend. There'll be no stream tomorrow. Okay, as the markets are closed. Thank you, everyone. Trade safe out there, and we'll see you soon. And remember, don't take candy from strange market makers. Thanks, folks. Bye for now.